I just want to say I love remakes. I love games that have been influenced by other things, like how Perfect Dark was influenced by Blade Runner, or like when some of the staff from Rare left to form Free Radical and they released Time Splitters, which was a lot like GoldenEye. But this doesn't just stop at video games. I love watching remakes of my old favourite films. Even if I don't like the newer film, it's just interesting to see what the director's take on the story might be. And even in music, I love when my favourite band will cover a song by another band and see what they do different. And also in the art world. There are thousands of versions of the Mona Lisa, but my favourite of all is Salvador Dali's self-portrait as the Mona Lisa. Of course, if you type into Google now, you'll find hundreds of images just like this where people have superimposed their face on the Mona Lisa. But what really interested me is when Dali done this, there was no Photoshop, so I find it very humbling that he was able to do this in the 1950s. I'm sure by now you're probably thinking, what's the Mona Lisa got to do with a GoldenEye remake? Well, I can't really answer that until I first tell you something about Salvador Dali's name. The name Salvador Dali is actually an anagram for Avida dollars, which can be translated into English as eager for dollars. Salvador Dali was only in it for the money. We can tell this when you look at the bottom of the screen, when you look at what he's holding in his hand. His hand is completely overflowing with silver dollars, to the point where I can't believe he's actually able to hold that much. So when he looks at the Mona Lisa, all he sees is money. He would love to own the Mona Lisa, but only as an asset. He would love to sell the Mona Lisa and make lots of money from it. In a way, Dali reminds me of Activision. All they're interested in gaming was the money. Take the Tony Hawk series for example. Once they realised people enjoyed the first couple, they completely ruined it by bringing out one every single year. And this isn't the only series they've done this with. Normally game companies make a sequel every couple of years, and there's a good reason for this. It takes time to make a good game. You don't just churn them out every year just to make as much money as possible. I mean, I'm not going to lie, when I found out about the GoldenEye remake, I was about as happy as anyone else was. Until a couple of months of looking at videos made me realise that it just looks like Call of Duty remapped into a GoldenEye world. Once GoldenEye on the Xbox Live Arcade was cancelled, Activision wanted to make a plan on how to make as much money off all the GoldenEye fans. They just wanted to exploit all the nostalgia and get as much money as they possibly could. I was going to buy the game just to see what it would be like, but then I realised that's exactly what they want you to do. They want you to buy it and see what it's like, play it for a couple of weeks, and then never play it again. And that's how they make their money. It's the same as the Call of Duty series. I bought Black Ops just to see what the zombie game would be like, and after playing it for about a week, I hated the game, and I'll never play it again. But that doesn't matter to Activision, they've already made their money on you. The first Zombies was pretty good, but the second just didn't need to be made. There was nothing new really about it. They could have easily just released new maps for World at War and not made you pay for them. I mean, they're making enough money in this game as it is. But that's what Activision do. That's why they release a new game every year for each series, and that's the reason there was a GoldenEye remake made. They wanted to squeeze every single drop of money out of every GoldenEye fan out there, and they used nostalgia and pretty interesting marketing techniques to try and make it look like it would be like the old GoldenEye. But I'm sure in the back of everyone's head they knew it wouldn't be. The controls wouldn't be there, and they didn't even really have the proper license. But that, I mean, it didn't stop them from making lots of money on it. So for that reason, I'm not going to be playing the GoldenEye remake, but I am playing a remake that isn't made by money-hungry corporations like Activision. This remake is actually made by a GoldenEye fan called GreenFire 32, or if you're going on YouTube, his name is GreenFire 31, and it's a remake using the Far Cry map editor. He's remade the single player levels up until I think Statue. So I'll do a bit of a playthrough of each of the levels and narrate as I go. So I'm going to get right into it because I'm pretty sure by now I've spent about 5 minutes ranting, so people have probably left. So here we have the dam opening cutscene. Of course, this is a remake of the single player levels. Although they are multiplayer levels, they'll be played as multiplayer levels, if that makes sense. Here we have Pierce Brosnan playing James Bond, not Daniel Craig, and he's swinging his arms around like there's a wasp trying to sting him. As you should know, that this is a single player level, but it was never, although some single player levels were in the multiplayer of GoldenEye, the dam wasn't one of those, so it's kind of interesting to be able to play it as a multiplayer level. I think if you use Game Shark, maybe it was an action replay, I don't know, one of those cheat things anyway, you could have used some of the levels, the single player levels as multiplayer. This is the little sniper tower building where you get the sniper rifle. It's pretty cool how you get it so early on in the game. One thing I've noticed going back and playing this is the sniper rifle moves about way too much. It's, especially if you're zoomed right the way in, it's actually ridiculous. Looking back at GoldenEye, sometimes when you look back at older games, you can certainly look through the rose tinted glasses, and what I mean by that is they're a lot better than you, or they're a lot worse. That doesn't sound right. They're worse than you remember. Sometimes when you absolutely love something, you see through the flaws. You almost forget about them, and you only remember the things that you loved about it. And it's definitely not without saying GoldenEye has its flaws, but it's, for its time, it was definitely just an amazing game. This little area, there would usually be an enemy there. These little guard towers, I mean, the whole thing has just been, GreenFire's done an excellent job in remaking all these levels. Because I had to try using the Far Cry map editor myself, and you just couldn't use the thing. It was just, it's amazing, that, especially when we get to later on in the level. Now this is a little lock in the GoldenEye, and I'm demonstrating this now to show how I just could not understand how to get through this door. This is obviously a reconstruction of the first time I played it. This isn't actual footage of the first ever time I played it, but I looked through my inventory. I couldn't find a key for the lock anywhere, until I realised eventually you just had to shoot the lock, and it was just one of those sort of facepalm moments. This is me demonstrating how horrible the sniper, look how much it moves around, and on top of that, my horrible shooting. Actually the Far Cry sniper doesn't move, which I think is actually a really good thing, or if it does move, it doesn't move as bad as the GoldenEye one did. This is actually me running down the dam, and this is where the movie GoldenEye starts, as James Bond's running down the dam at the very start of it. All the rest of it's just been made up, which is a cool way of prolonging the level. In there would normally be little alarm buttons that the guards can press. Here we have the docks reconstructed, and I like this little archway here that he's created, just using I don't know what he's used, but he's remade it all to look exactly like the little archway. Obviously there wasn't an archway set piece, so he's designed, you can see as you're walking down this, the way the angles are moved up, he's actually individually placed all these, which is just shows amazing dedication. I wouldn't have the time for it, or I wouldn't have the patience for it, should I say. And we're walking down this little corridor, and there's enemies in round the corner, always catch me out. I mean, I don't know how I fall for it every time, but I made a point of killing these ones, but sometimes later on, you forget about them. I love these crates. He just anyway, they look exactly like the GoldenEye ones, which is great. Which is great. Oh, that's hilarious. So it's the only thing that's holding the Far Cry part of things back is the controls. I mean, did you see there now the run he just done was a really... I don't like games with a run button for a few reasons. One of them being that you put your weapon away and the gun's jammed there for some weird reason. But one of the reasons, when you put your weapon away, it takes a while to bring it back out, and to, you know, that delays your shot for a couple of seconds, and that's just not how I like to play games. I would far rather strafe. All the best first person shooters, in my opinion, you don't have to run, you can just strafe. The original Battlefield 2 Modern Combat didn't have a run button. Perfect Dark doesn't have run. Just loads, there's lots. I just prefer strafing. I just think it's a better way to move. Not that it's realistic, but you know, who needs realism? So that was just a very quick and very unscripted walkthrough of the dam level, and I'm now just going to go over quickly and show you the little secret island, which is part of... It was in GoldenEye, but you can only get there, I think, by using the Game Shark. I personally didn't go over to this island in the original for a few reasons. One of them being that I think it's important to keep a game from going stale, not to know everything about it. I think once you start picking apart every little detail in the game, it just gets very boring and you just don't ever want to play it again. So some things are best left unknown. I'm sure there are other YouTube videos that will show you that. I personally don't want to know, I want to keep it as a mystery. So I apologise for the unscripted style of this video, but it's really just to give you all an idea of what these maps look like and kind of do a bit of a comparison to the old maps. And it's just a bit of fun really, and that's, I think, hopefully that's why these maps were made, just for nostalgia. I'm going to end this video with a bit of a sneak peek to the next levels. So thanks for watching, and subscribe for the next level. And also I'd like to say thank you to GreenFire for making the levels, and again I'll put links to his channel on this video and in the description.